Hello and welcome. This is Japan, and this is actually the second time I filmed this video. I got halfway through and realized the mic had turned off for whatever reason, so that was fun. So let's get right into AEW Wrestledream. It was yesterday, so maybe my thoughts will be more clear this time, knowing that I've done this two times now. First up, we had Adam Page versus Jay White. A overall solid match. I think it did suffer that it didn't have as much build as we thought it would probably have. The thing with like Adam Page is that he's such a good character worker, but they just don't like he gets like into a semi feuds and it just feels like there should be more. Honestly, it just feels like there needs to be more that goes on. I don't know why. They kind of do that. I think overall the match was good. Jay White is very talented. He's probably one of their best wrestlers in the organization. I don't think they let him be unleashed as much as they want him to, and I think that definitely makes it suffer. I think the match was good. It was a solid first match. It definitely deserved to be on this card. I'm not going to do the pre-show matches. The pre-show matches were kind of just a lot of just mess ups, to be honest. And having the ref push down somebody's arms to get the pin, you can't really get past that. And so I decided just to skip over them here. They pretty much all would have been in the bad category. And I feel like this will actually help the pay per view look like a better pay per view because there won't be as many towards the bottom. Next up, we have the Women's Championship match. Before we even start, what is AEW doing with the women's division? They have one of the best women's divisions in all of wrestling. I honestly do believe that their wrestling, like the wrestling ability, their character workers, all of that stuff is probably better than most of the WWE's main roster. If you put it as a whole, no, but if you put it as just Raw and SmackDown, I think they do edge out both of those things. And then I think only NXT probably can hold a candle to them because NXT is obviously stacked and having like Delta and stuff, but that's a whole nother tangent for a whole nother video and a whole nother day. So, but with having that, why does this match go on second? It should definitely be like the third main event, like they want to call it. It should be right between the tag match and the ROH Championship match. Or even should have been second. And this is not like just a random thing that's happened. This has happened almost in every pay-per-view. There is one women's match on this, and even if you add the before matches, you only add one more match to that. Why? You have such a great in-depth division. Like they have a solid, huge division. Each title should be almost defended every single time. I don't know why Mercedes Money was on the sideline. I know they're trying to build a storyline with her, but like AEW is time and time again just thrown two people together and just thrown in there in the match to try to make gold, and it just feels like they just don't care about this division at all. And you can definitely see it by it being second. This match overall pretty good. I knew it would probably be one of those matches that'd be good. I think the two styles really clash well together. Size, stature, everything that you can think of is kind of like a little bit of an opposite, and it works perfectly to blend those together. I mean, we'll see it later in the Darby Allin and Brody King match. It just when you have stuff like that with size and movement and move set and stuff, you can get some really good stuff. I thought the match itself was going really well. I had it in good, and I was really probably going to that amazing spot, and then the finish I think was just so heavily just random spam a bunch of moves and be over with. It just felt kind of rushed, and that's why I feel like being on second, it's kind of like that because they'll probably have a hard time that they have to have that match, so they have more time for anything else if it goes over. So you're just not letting these women do what they need to do. So I'm putting it in good. I definitely don't want to put it any lower. I thought it was a solid match. Next up, we have Jack Perry versus the wrestler, the Redditor. Oh God, that sounds like the worst type of wrestler. Jesus, Shibata. Shibata, I've grown to really like watching him for a lot of his AEW matches. I need to watch some of his Japan stuff because I feel like he kind of gets the short end of the stick here. Like he does enhance the talent, but like he doesn't get the chance to be completely over. I thought the match was an okay match. I definitely think it was the best one out of the ones that I would put in this good category so far. Um, there's not really much to say. It's just a solid, good match. I mean, I don't think there was really anywhere else to put it. It wasn't like that amazing match I got to watch ever again, and it probably wouldn't be something that I would ever go back to. But thinking about it, seeing it, I'm not upset that it was on the card, and I think it was definitely worth it. So next up, we got the match that I was most hyped for, which is Will Ospreay, Ricochet, and Kosk. I can never say his name. I'm not even going to attempt it because I just feel like I'm butchering it. I feel bad. They had some stakes in this. We already saw Ricochet and Will Ospreay go the distance, so I knew this was going to be just a really solid match. It's going to have some really cool, crazy stuff, and it definitely delivered. Adding that third body in there with like the extra strength and stuff. He's an amazing wrestler, so I think it was all perfect. It is definitely the best match of the card, by far. It was just great. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it's like a 5-star match for everybody else and all that. I would say probably the only things I'd take away from it is the ending made sense to the story. It just felt a little rushed to it. I think they could have at least maybe let it cook a little bit out there, have a little bit more. Will he won't he his friend turning on him and stuff. I think they could have just almost held it just a little bit. They like to do stuff fast, and I feel like it's because they don't want these pay-per-views to be 7.5 hours, which feels like that's how long they are sometimes. But definitely still the best match. I think they did great. I'm one of those people like I like Will Ospreay. I don't think I'm up his ass like everybody else is just like he's the best wrestler ever. I mean, he has flaws. He's not always the best mic worker, but he can go out there and put on a match with anybody. And it's probably going to be one of the top things because they just let him do what he wants to do out there. And putting Ricochet in there, who did that for the WWE, it's perfect. And adding that third body was just absolutely pivotal to making this a great match and the title change. So it was a pretty good match altogether. Next one is Hologram versus the Beast. Now, this one I was really pumped for. 2 out of 3 falls matches can be interesting to a certain extent. I don't particularly like them in these type of matches where you feel like you kind of know it's just going to go back and forth. You know, you rarely ever see like the person win just for the first 2 matches, and I feel like they should do that more often to kind of get the spontaneity up. But Hologram had just does some great stuff. You got that high flyer versus the guy that can also just move around like he shouldn't for his size. I think overall was just amazing match with that. I'm gonna put it in amazing. I think the only thing that I would say is the speculation. 2 out of 3 falls, I think definitely made it worse. I think overall everything else about it was amazing. I definitely want to see this again. This is like, we had the best of 7 series that they've been doing on WWE, like especially SmackDown with Andrade and Carmelo Hayes. I kind of want AEW to start doing it. It feels like a kind of a thing that would be better to be suited into AEW. And this one is one of those that I want that way, even though Holograms never lost. So I think that's part of the reason that we'll never see something like that. But I think this was an amazing match, and it deserved to be on the card. And it feels weird it being the like 5th match on here, but it was great. Overall, also we had Swerve Strickland come down, get the Hurt Business or the Hurt Syndicate, confronting him. Overall, that was okay. Nothing too crazy about that. We had MGF coming back, then Adam Cole. I really like that storyline. I like the whole devil thing. They had to drop because of injuries and all that other stuff. So I'm kind of excited to see what they do with it, but I'm cautious that it's gonna go nowhere. But we shall see. There's no stakes in that rivalry, so like title stakes. I think that's gonna be a little bit rougher for them, but we'll see how it goes. Next up, we have Darby Allin versus Brody King. This one had a lot of story between like them having backstage stuff. I mean, Darby Allin should have had the match against Byron Danielson, but he lost it to Moxley, and he had been just a lot of just crazy stuff in this match. I really feel like the build up for it and like them having a long standing rivalry where he's never beaten Brody King, and the size difference and them attacking each other outside. I think the build up was really good. The match itself was really good too. I definitely don't think it was like the best ever match. I feel like some of the stuff with like Darby Allin is just he does crazy stuff, and I don't know if it's necessarily like the best wrestling, but it is crazy and memorable. So you got to put it up there. I put it in amazing. I think it was a good match. If you haven't seen the match, I think it's definitely worth watching. Both of these amazing matches. If you're not gonna watch any of the pay per view or care about any of the stuff, at least watch some of those top 3 matches right now because those are worth it. I think you'll be enjoyable if you just you'll be enjoyable if you just like watching wrestling. Next up, we have the Young Bucks versus Private Party. I'll be honest, I'm just not a huge fan of the Young Bucks. I like their like gimmick, and I like a lot of the stuff they've done in the past, but just seeing their wrestling that I've seen throughout the years and different stuff, it's just not it for me. Private Party, they did pretty solid. It just never really felt like they were really gonna get there and gonna get over into that area, like to the next level. But I just felt the match was okay. I'll probably just put it in okay. I don't want to put it necessarily in bad. I think it was still a pretty good match. But being like the third to last match, I feel like this should have been the starter or the second match and been replaced with the women's match. They should have flipped those around or even flipped all these matches down more. Because honestly, if I built the card, I would have this one going on first because it was just amazing. It would be a great way to set it. Then Adam Page and Jay White. I probably then would do the title match, then the tag team title. You could flip them either way you want to do it. Then I would do this match, this match, this match, this match, this match. That's how I would have built the card. I think it would have made the flow a lot better too, and I think it would obviously have made the scale of these matches I think a little bit better because it's not like I don't know. It's just weird breaking up. Next up, we have the ROH Championship, which is Mark Briscoe versus Chris Jericho. They had some good symbolism in it. They had a good build-up with Jericho talking about his dead brother and stuff like that. I think it feels weird just saying that. It just feels so casual, but it's like, yeah, it's just wrestling. It's just a wrestling thing. And talk about dead relatives. I think there's a good symbolism there where like Jericho tried to take him out with his brother's finishing move, and then eventually he took Jericho out with that. I think it was overall a pretty good match. I think the problem is they're just kind of old. I mean, the problem is with Jericho is like that. He's just on the older side. Um, I don't necessarily have a problem with anything else in this match. I don't think it should have been this high. This could have definitely just been a match that was there. I put it in good. I don't think. Uh, I think it's probably the second lowest match, maybe third lowest match. I don't know. But yeah, that's where I'll put it. Then we got the main event. This is a very complicated match, I would have to say. Overall, having this match and having everything about it, I figured Moxley might be winning this. It fit very perfectly to this send off that Bryan Danielson deserved. Being in front of a hometown crowd, or at least that's what they said. I don't know if he's actually from Seattle. I just remember them saying that at some point. I think overall it was the right choice. They had some decent stuff. They had, the ending ended up being pretty solid with everybody coming out. The bag situation, there's just a lot. So let's just start right into it. The match itself, I think was okay. I think that they went back pretty well. They're kind of their styles. I don't think necessarily fit perfectly to make like a great, amazing match. I think overall the match itself was probably okay. I think it might have been in the okay category. If you kind of add the whole aspect of whatever happens at the end of it, I think is a little overbooked. Just having like the whole roster come down to save Bryan Danielson because his old group turned on him, and then that's his send off. And the other thing I noticed, and maybe it's just me, but I remember them booking and talking about Bryan Danielson as this being whenever he loses a championship or at the end of the year, he was going to have to retire because he's going to do it. Now it's just saying he's retiring from full time wrestling, and maybe that was just me mishearing it. But yeah, I feel like this ending was one of those things like he just got submitted and nobody there. The crowd didn't react. Nothing. There was just no reaction to it. I feel like it was bad. I just honestly think it was the worst match here. Um, I just don't know. You just watch it and there's just something off about that entire match, and maybe it's just how I felt. Even though this is exactly what I wanted, I thought this would be the perfect person to retire Danielson, other than maybe like Okada or something, like somebody that could be like a big challenge that he's already faced and fought is conquered. Um, I honestly just felt kind of just like okay, I guess the title's changed. I feel like the him taking the title from Swerve and having it elevated for a while, like we thought, just kind of feels like no, it's not. And I hope WWE's watching to try to not do that with Cena of what this just happened. And I feel like, yeah. But yeah, that is the card. I think overall the thing was pretty good. I definitely think it's one of the better events that they had. I just think the order was out of place, and they definitely could have changed up a lot of this to change up. Like I said, the order definitely I think made this stuff weird, and they could have definitely got rid of the ROH Championship match. They could have definitely moved this tag match to the pre-show or at first. Those two, just taking those two off, I think it would have overall made it. The main event, again, just not my cup of tea. I think overall the wrestling was okay. Like I kept saying, it's just I don't think the whole match itself was anything that I liked. Everything felt very predictable, especially at the end with all the people coming down, and it just kind of felt I'm like, okay, well, that's done now. And that's it. I feel like not anything has changed. But yep, that's what I think about Wrestling Dream. Tell me what you guys thought, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.